I've got this new doctor. I've gone to him a few times since I moved to Nashville. And the first time we met, he, we did the thing and he goes, so, what do you do for work? I go, yeah, I work at Gibson. And he got really excited. And he really wanted to talk about it, right? He launched right into it. And he's from Nashville. And what I've learned in my time since being here, when you meet people who are from Nashville, they are in some way connected to Gibson. People from Nashville will go, oh, do you know? Oh, my dad used to work there when I got a cousin, I got a neighbor, I got a friend. And that's just how it goes here because, Gibson's been here in Nashville since 1975. And so if you're from here, you're connected to it. It's a massive part of Nashville culture. You can't really avoid it. And so I bring all this up to say, when I start talking to him, my doctor, about it, he's got stories on stories on stories about how he's connected to it. And he's connected pretty deep, and that's not my story to tell, but his goes way back. Then when I go see him last, he tells me, I just saw this guitar at Gruhn's Guitar. And, I'm a friend of Gruhn's, and he started explaining to me this insane guitar that made literally no sense. And he knew that. He's not just connected to Gibson, he's also a Gibson aficionado. He loves Gibson guitars. All of the patient rooms in his offices have Gibsons and Epiphones in them. He's really into Gibson. And I think that's really cool because it's very kind of like homegrown pride. And so as he's telling me about this insane guitar, and he knows that it's incongruent with the model, that none of it makes sense. He knows that. And so as I was leaving, I said, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you reach out to George and ask him if I can come see it and film it? He said, yeah, absolutely. He pulls his phone out right there. Like, he didn't bullshit. He pulls his phone out. Hey, George, it's me. I got Cam here. He wants to come down and have a look at that guitar. Can he bring his camera and film? I said, yeah, send him down. And so I'm on my way to Gruhn's right now because once he started telling me about this guitar, I've been flabbergasted for the last hour. It doesn't make any sense and I want to see it. When I say this is one of the weirdest guitars Gibson has ever made, possibly, when I say weird, I don't mean crazy, I don't mean mod collection, I don't mean insane paint jobs or weird design choices. I mean, it's the weirdest in that it doesn't really make any sense. And so the mysterious guitar in question here that we're talking about is what's supposed to be a 1962 Gibson ES 345. I might have that number wrong, but it's an early 60s, 61, 62 ES 345, and I'm really excited to see it. So let's go check it out.
This guitar is stamped inside as being an ES 345 custom. And on the hang tag, it is an ES 345 special. TD is thin, and D normally stands for double pickup, but this is not, it really isn't double pickup, so it doesn't make much sense. But it's triple pickup. An ES345 normally would have two pickups. These are patent applied for humbuckers. The guitar was made early in '62. 345s have double parallelogram inlays, but they're in pearloid mother of toilet seat, and these are pearl. 345 would have single binding on the fingerboard, but this has multiple bindings like a Gibson Super 400. Black lines on the front and on the side. It has Super 400 style binding on the top and back, but it has only single binding like an L5 on the sound holes, but a regular 345 does not have binding in the F holes. The regular ES 345 would have the ABR1 bridge, pneumatic, and gold-plated parts like this does. But the normal 345 would not have had Grover rotomatics. That's what you would have had at that time on a 355. And this is the early rotomatics that have the cap there. The later ones are just black with the end of that gear exposed. But this is the early style patent applied for rotomatic. The pick guard is bound like a Super 400. It is that same marble grain Super 400 style as far as the type of plastic, and all the multiple bindings, which a 345 would not be like that. 345 would have a 3-position toggle switch, but this has a 5-position rotary pickup selector switch. 345 would have a tone and volume for each pickup, but they only had 2. So it'd be 4 knobs, but this has 2 more because it has tone and volume for all the pickups. It's stereo and baritone, which a 345 typically was. This has the baritone switch, but it has an ES5 tailpiece, which is a different model. And actually, even there, while it says ES5, this is cut down shorter because an ES5 has a full depth body, and this tailpiece would extend down further, but still is engraved ES5.
Well, then the headstock as well is an L5 headstock.
Headstock is like an L5, multiple bound. And of course, it says stereo right there. But that's the inlay pattern that a Gibson L5 model had at that time. So it's weird. And then the case, this is genuine leather covered, original case. This is a very expensive case. It is a Lifton case. This was the most deluxe case that Gibson offered at great extra expense. And the case cover also is original to it. It's quite heavy duty. It's actually a leather covered case can scratch up, and so the case is supposed to protect the guitar, but the case needs a cover of its own. So this is effectively, you got the guitar in a case, and you got a case cover for the case.
And then inside this pocket, there was something special as well that it
has a spec sheet, which...
So the spec sheet is interesting for a few reasons, and I'm curious. So far, you haven't said what you think this is, whether it's just a custom.
We actually found the ledger that showed it.
You did?
And it's the only one.
And so this was a custom order?
Yes.
This is amazing.
These instructions for stereo sound.
Amazing. So a custom order verified with a ledger.
Yeah, in the ledger it stated that it was custom, and so it was. If it was made as a prototype, I would have expected it to be stated as such.
Right.
So somebody ordered this thing, but it didn't say in that ledger who.
Right.
As a conversation piece, it's fabulous.
Yeah.
As a piece of artwork, it's great.
Yeah.
As a playable tool, actually it ought to be good, but it's also, we didn't mention, it's completely hollow, whereas a 345 would be semi-hollow,
right.
Center block.
Right.
But it does have the body shape and the peg head shape. Actually, the peg head shape's a little different than a regular 345. This is the size and ornamentation of the 345 peg head. It's a 335, but the peg head will be the same. And if you look, they're not quite the same.
Right.
See, it's a different shape.
Yep, they're definitely different.
They're definitely different dimension peg head. So somewhat wider peg head. The 345 doesn't have a bound peg head at all. It would be a peg head just like this.
Right.
So as far as the only thing that looks like a 345, it has the body shape and size of a 345. It's stereo and baritone. It has double parallelograms, but a 345 with the mother of toilet seat plastic double parallelograms. These are not quite the double parallelograms of a 345. Why they called it a 345 custom beats me, but it doesn't have to make sense. They did it. This is for sale.
Where can we find it?
It'll be on the Gruhn Guitar's website, guitars.com. So it will be featured there.
Can you come check it out in person as well?
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
It will be here and will be available for people to come and visit with it. It's certainly an interesting guitar. There's no question it plays well and sounds good. Everything on it is absolutely top-rate work. It is very playable and it is very good. It is also certainly an oddball, as well as it's about the most elaborate double cutaway Gibson I've seen made during this era. And early 62 is still early enough that was in their golden age period of great electric guitars.
Right. All right, you got it. Come get it at Gruhn's Guitars or guitars.com.
I've never seen anything even close to that. I mean, that's like 3 or 4 guitars in one. You've got an L5 headstock, you got an E5 tailpiece, Super 400 appointments, ES345 sticker, ES345 TD sticker, ES345 special paperwork. What? You open a guitar case to one of the craziest guitars you've ever seen in absolutely fantastic condition. It's really surprising and kind of a shock. I mean, I really didn't expect it to be as good as it was. It had 2 cases. It had a case and then it had another case bag to protect the leather case, which is cool. It's an unbelievably cool guitar. But one of the things that highlights to me is also what it was like walking into the Kalamazoo craftery in 1961, 1962. You know, you're talking about such a specific build and such a cool build like that. Like when it comes to building guitars for big brands and pumping out as many guitars as possible, one of the ways that money is saved from making the guitar cost more is by repeatability. And so when you've got a process that's repeatable, you know, copy and paste over and over and over and over again, it actually makes it cheaper because you can get more done, and that keeps the price of the guitar lower than if you change the process every single time. I mean, if you change the process every single time, I mean, imagine like you building a guitar right now. Imagine you build an SG and then you pivot and then you build an Explorer and then you pivot and you build a 335 and then you pivot and you build an SJ200 and you pivot and you build a Les Paul. All of these different components, different parts, different pieces, different methods, it costs you time every time. And so manufacturers want to decrease that time as much as possible because again, it keeps labor costs down. So my point is, having a guitar as unique as that is labor intensive. It's not quick. It's not meant to be quick. It's meant to be cool. It's meant to be unique. It's meant to be handcrafted. That's what that was. It was several different pieces of several different guitars and a really cool custom order. I mean, I don't know if I didn't even think to ask, was it a one owner guitar? I didn't even think to. I wish I had. It was so clean. It really wouldn't surprise me if it had very few owners. You know, it just feels like that's what makes the most sense for how clean it is. Anyways, well, I mean, an extremely cool guitar. Yo, if you end up being the buyer of this guitar, please reach out. I'd love to talk to you about it. If you know the buyer of this guitar, please reach out. I'd love to connect. I'd love to connect with a buyer. To purchase this guitar, if it's still available, guitars.com, GUITARS.com. That's Gruhn's website. George had a whole story about that he told me that was great, about how he acquired guitars.com for $30. Unbelievable. So yeah, so you don't have to go to Gruhn Guitars. You can just go to guitars.com and find it there if it's still available, if it hasn't already sold. I hope that you get to see it from Gruhn's side. It's an exceptionally cool piece, and frankly something I'll never see again. You know, it's extremely unique. It's definitely not going to be remade that way. A very cool, ostentatious, over the top, beautiful, ornate 345 something. Gibson's weirdest ES 345 ever. Anyways, thank you to George and the Gruhn team for letting me film this and make this. This was a ton of fun. I really wish I got a chance to play it, but I don't want to be the guy in the private room with a camera and a guitar and doing the thing. George said it plays great, sounds great. I trust him. The PAF, so you know it's going to sound killer. 3 of them. It's cool guitar. So thank you for that again, and thanks to my Dr. Major for making that contact happen. A proper Gibson lover, a proper Gibson family band member. So thanks for watching. Do the stuff, click the buttons, subscribe. If you've ever seen a weirder 345, tell me if you have a favorite 345. Let's hear it below. As always, and until next time, stay tuned.